All right, y'all. Today we're stepping into the tech Thunderdome. It's the battle of the operating systems, Android OS versus iOS. And spoiler alert, Android's not just better, it's a full-on freedom machine. From USB-C to sideloading to phones that don't cost a mortgage, we've got 21 savage reasons Apple fans are about to start sweating. Grab your popcorn, grab your chargers. Let's get into it. Customization isn't a feature. It's the whole experience. Android isn't just customizable, it's built for the tinkerer, the theme lord, the control freak in all of us. While iOS treats you like a guest at a well-decorated hotel, look, don't touch. Android hands you the keys and says, make it yours. Want a neon pink icon pack? Done. Fancy a minimalist setup with nothing but a weather widget and your cat's face as a clock? Go for it. You can change your launcher, lock screen, keyboard, status bar, font, boot animation. Basically everything short of rewriting the OS from scratch. And if you're into rooting, well, you can even do that. iOS users only recently got a taste of home screen customization, and they acted like they invented widgets in 2020. Meanwhile, Android users were already years deep into Nova Launcher setups that look like sci-fi dashboards. The difference is night and day. On Android, your phone doesn't just work for you, it looks and feels like it's yours. It's not just about personal style, it's about owning the full experience. That's not just better, that's liberating. Android gives you real choice in hardware. Apple gives you exactly one phone a year. Okay, technically 4, but they're just size variants in the same box with slightly different lenses. Android, it's an entire galaxy, pun intended, of options. You want a flagship with a 200-megapixel camera? Done. A budget phone that doesn't burn a hole in your wallet? Easy. A foldable screen that opens like a book? Welcome to the future. Need a rugged phone that survives construction sites? Android's got it. This ecosystem lets manufacturers compete on innovation, from Samsung's wild designs to Google's AI-packed Pixels to OnePlus's lightning-fast chargers. iOS users are stuck in Apple's walled garden, where choice means choosing between silver and space gray. With Android, it's not just about different looks, it's different functions, different priorities. You can pick a phone that fits your exact lifestyle, whether that's gaming, photography, productivity, or just having a headphone jack. Android doesn't just give you one phone to rule them all. It gives you the freedom to choose your champion. That's not just better, that's powerful. USB-C is the hero we need. In 2025, there's absolutely no excuse for still rocking a lightning cable, except, apparently, being Apple. Meanwhile, Android users have been living that universal life with USB-C for years. One cable to rule them all. Phone, tablet, laptop, earbuds, even your Nintendo Switch. It's faster for charging, faster for data, and way less annoying to plug in. Ever tried explaining Lightning to someone with a drawer full of USB-C? That's pain. And let's not forget, Apple knows USB-C is better. They use it on their iPads and MacBooks. But when it comes to iPhones, they just can't quit their proprietary obsession. Why? Accessories money, dongle life is real in iLand. Android says nah. You want fast charging? USB-C. You want to transfer 100 photos without AirDrop prayers? USB-C. You want a world where your charger works in more than one device? USB-freaking-C. Android users are done playing with ancient ports. iPhone users, still stuck in Lightning limbo. Default apps? You choose, not Apple. In the Android universe, freedom means freedom, even down to your calculator app. You don't like the pre-installed browser? Change it. Prefer a different email app, messaging app, or gallery. Set it as default. No pop-ups, no begging, no hoops. Meanwhile, over in iOS land, Apple spent years refusing to let users pick their own defaults. Only recently did they allow limited changes. And even then, it's like asking permission to rearrange your own furniture. Android's been letting users tailor their ecosystem since the flip phone era. Whether you want Firefox over Chrome, Signal over Messages, or literally any music player over Apple Music, Android says go wild. And if you're the type who likes to experiment, Android's got options you haven't even heard of yet, with features that make stock apps look like kindergarten software. Apple wants you to stay in the family. Android hands you the keys and lets you drive wherever. Because being locked into one company's vision isn't sleek, it's control. And Android users? We broke free a long time ago. File transfers that don't make you cry. Transferring files on Android is like breathing. You just do it. Plug your phone into a computer. It shows up like a USB drive. Want to send a massive video to a friend? Bluetooth, Wi-Fi Direct, Nearby Share. Take your pick. Need to move photos from your phone to your PC without summoning tech support? Drag and drop, baby. Meanwhile, iPhone users are out here dealing with the ritualistic chaos of AirDrop. Will it work? Will it not work? Is Bluetooth on? Is Wi-Fi synced? Is the moon in Pisces? Even sending a file to your own Mac can feel like calling a seance. And if you're on Windows, forget it. Welcome to the magical world of iCloud logins, weird formats, and a headache prescription. Android doesn't play those games. It treats your files like files, not secrets. You have control, you have access, and most importantly, you have options. Whether it's cables, apps, or wireless transfers, Android just gets it done. iPhone users still stuck whispering to AirDrop like it's a moody spirit. All right, pause the debate. We want your take. Drop the most savage, hilarious, or weirdly specific reason why Android destroys iOS, or prove us wrong and tell us why Apple actually wins. Best part? The funniest, smartest, and pettiest arguments will get featured in a future users edition of this video. So go off in the comments. We're watching and judging. Sideloading apps equals actual freedom. On Android, the world is your app store. Don't like Google Play? Use F-Droid, APK Mirror, Amazon App Store, or heck, build your own. Android trusts you to install what you want, when you want, where you want. You found an amazing app that isn't available in your country? Sideload it. Want to test a beta version before it hits the mainstream? Sideload it. Need to roll back to a version that actually works? Sideload it. It's your phone. You're the boss. Meanwhile, iOS locks everything behind the golden gates of the App Store. And Apple is the bouncer, judge, and jury. No sideloading without jumping through jailbreak hoops and voiding your warranty. Even developers have to grovel for access. Android says, you want to install an app? Here's the file. Knock yourself out. It's not just about choice, it's about trust. Android treats its users like adults. Apple, like toddlers in a luxury daycare. If freedom means being able to take risks, explore, and customize, then Android is the digital Wild West in the best way. Widgets that actually do something. Android widgets aren't just decorative, they work. You want real-time weather updates, a music player on your home screen, a dynamic calendar that shows your actual next event? Done. Android's widgets are interactive, customizable, and, most importantly, useful. You can resize them, stack them, layer them, turn your phone into a productivity cockpit or a meme command center. iOS widgets, on the other hand, they're still stuck in 2015 looking pretty and doing basically nothing. Half of them are just glorified icons that launch apps. Interactive widgets on iPhone? Yeah, they're slowly coming, years after Android had fully functional ones. And customization? Forget it. Apple tells you how big they are, where they go, and what they show. Android says, you want a Spotify controller next to your step tracker and a Reddit feed? Go off, king. It's the difference between a smart dashboard and a corkboard of Post-its. On Android, your home screen works for you. On iOS, it looks nice in screenshots. That's cute. But we want power. Split-screen multitasking like it's 2025. Android users have been running two apps at once for years. Reading emails while watching YouTube, taking notes while doom-scrolling Twitter, or texting while mapping directions. It's the ultimate productivity flex. Need to copy a tracking number from your browser into a text message? You don't have to switch apps like it's 2012, just split the screen and go. Meanwhile, iOS, only iPads get a taste of this magic, and iPhones are still living that full-screen life. No matter how big the screen gets, you're locked into one app at a time. Apple users are paying over $1,000 for phones that can't even do basic multitasking. Android says no thanks. You want to watch a tutorial and follow it in real time? Split it. Want to play music while doom-scrolling Reddit in full? Split it. You control your screen like a true multitasking beast. iPhone users, still waiting for Apple to invent the idea and brand it as SlideFlex Pro trademark. Probably in iOS 21. Android's already there. Phones under $500 that don't suck. You don't need to sell a kidney to get a solid Android phone. Seriously. While Apple's budget phones still cost more than your monthly rent in some cities, Android offers legit performance, great cameras, and long battery life in phones priced under $500. And we're not talking ancient models from 5 years ago. We mean current-gen devices from brands like Google, Samsung, OnePlus, Motorola, and more. You get OLED screens, 120Hz refresh rates, fingerprint readers, 5G, the works. Apple's answer? The iPhone SE, which still rocks the design of a 2014 iPhone and a camera that looks like it's filming in potato mode. Android gives you choices. Real ones. A $400 Android phone today might outperform an $800 iPhone from 2 years ago. Because in Android land, value matters. Innovation isn't locked behind a $1,200 paywall. You get options. Premium features without the premium flex tax. iPhone users might say, it just works. Android users say, it works and I didn't have to take out a loan. Expandable storage. Because space matters. Your memes, your music, your Marvel movies, they all need space. And Android gets it. That's why so many Android phones come with a micro SD slot. Boom! Slap in a 512GB card and you just doubled or tripled your storage for like $30. Meanwhile, iPhone users are still paying $100 plus just to upgrade from 128GB to 256GB. And once it's full, too bad. Delete your stuff or pay for iCloud, where you'll now pay monthly forever just to store selfies. Android's approach is simple. You bought the phone, you should control the space. Need room for a 4K video shoot? Add a card. Want to keep your offline music, games, or full photo library on deck? Do it. No cloud, no contracts, no judgment. iOS locks storage like it's a rare resource. Android hands you the keys and says, add more. Because in the age of 8K cameras and 1 TB TikToks, internal-only storage is a scam. Expandability isn't old school, it's smart. Always on display isn't a luxury here. On Android, glancing at your phone for the time, date, or next meeting doesn't require unlocking the entire universe. It's just there. That's the magic of always on display. And Android's had it for years. Want to see missed notifications, battery percentage, a chill analog clock, or custom message like, don't text your ex? You can. And guess what? It barely sips battery. Meanwhile, iPhone users were stuck in the dark until 2022, when Apple finally rolled out its version to only certain models, and still managed to make it weird. Some called it too bright. Others hated that it shows everything, not just the essentials. Android lets you customize your AOD experience. It's not one size fits none. You decide what shows, how it looks, and even when it turns off. It's like your phone whispering useful stuff to you all day, instead of making you tap, swipe, and unlock like it's guarding state secrets. Always on display on Android, smart, subtle, and actually always on. iOS, late to the party and still figuring out how to dance. Real innovation comes to Android first. Let's be honest, most of the new features iPhone users celebrate every year, Android users have been there, done that. Widgets, Android 2009, OLED displays, old news, 120Hz refresh rates, already standard. Foldable phones, Android's out here folding screens like origami while Apple still tests prototypes in a lab. And let's not even start on USB-C, reverse wireless charging, or under-display fingerprint sensors. Android did it all before Apple even whispered about it at a keynote. The truth? Android is the sandbox where mobile tech evolves. It's where bold ideas are tested, refined, and sometimes wild. But that's where progress lives. Apple plays it safe, polishing features until they're Apple-ready, then acting like they invented sliced bread. Meanwhile, Android users have been enjoying experimental features for years. Want AI-generated wallpapers? Android had it. Want phones that turn into tablets? Already shipping. Android doesn't wait for permission. It moves fast, breaks things, and redefines what a smartphone can be. Apple may get the applause, but Android drives the future. Google Assistant greater than Siri. No contest. It's not even close. Google Assistant is smarter, faster, more natural, and actually gets things done. Ask it to remind you to pick up milk when you get to the store. Done. Want to control your smart home, set up routines, get real-time answers, translate a sign in Japanese, or literally book a restaurant reservation over the phone? Assistant's got your back. Siri, on the other hand, still struggles with basic tasks like setting a timer or playing the right song. iOS users know the pain. You ask a question, and Siri either punts you to a web search or says, "I found this on the web," like a confused librarian. Meanwhile, Google Assistant understands context. You can have full conversations with it. Follow-up questions, clarification, everything. It's like having an actual digital assistant, not a slow cousin who read the manual once. And since it's tied into Google Search, Maps, Calendar, Gmail, and more, the results are powerful. Siri might sound polite, but Google Assistant works. And in the end, that's what matters. You want a headphone jack? Boom, done. Remember when you could just plug in your headphones and it worked? Android remembers. While Apple ripped out the headphone jack in the name of courage, aka selling more AirPods, Android said, nah, people still use wired headphones. Let's keep it real. And they did. Many Android phones still come with a 3.5mm jack. No dongles, no adapters, no Bluetooth battery anxiety. Just plug and vibe. Audiophiles? They love Android because high-res audio and lossless formats still sound better through wires. Gamers? Zero latency? Travelers? No worrying if your wireless buds are charged. It's basic, it's functional, and it still matters. Meanwhile, iPhone users are juggling lightning dongles like medieval scrolls. One for headphones, one for charging, and heaven help you if you want to do both. Android offers choice. Wireless if you want it, wired if you need it. That's not outdated. That's thoughtful. And honestly, courage is letting users decide, not forcing them into buying overpriced accessories. More battery, more control, more life. Android doesn't just last longer, it lets you control how your battery behaves. Want a 5,000 milliamp hour battery that lasts 2 full days? Plenty of Android phones have it. Want ultra-fast charging that gives you 50% in 15 minutes? Android's got phones that'll charge while you brush your teeth. And the best part? You're not just relying on smart battery management, you actually get tools to tweak it. Battery saver modes, performance profiles, per-app usage stats, background app limits, it's all there. Android hands you the controls. Meanwhile, iPhone users are over here doing weird rituals to squeeze out another 10%. Dimming screens, force closing apps, which doesn't help by the way, and praying that optimized charging learns their habits. And don't get us started on how long it takes an iPhone to charge. Android users can top off during lunch. iPhone users might need a sleepover. Whether you want to maximize screen time or stretch your battery across a weekend hike, Android lets you live. iOS? It lets you worry. Actual progress bars during installs. It sounds minor until you've lived it. On Android, when you install or update an app, you see a real-time progress bar. It's clear, direct, and lets you know what's happening. Want to watch an app update from 7% to 100% while you judge your Wi-Fi? You can. It's a small touch, but it shows respect. Android tells you what it's doing. iOS? Nah. You get a vague little circle animation with no clue if it's frozen, almost done, or silently failed. It's like watching a spinning wheel of mystery. This isn't just aesthetics, it's user experience. Android understands that clarity matters. You don't have to guess if something's stalled, you know? And if an update is massive or something's gone wrong, Android gives you options to pause, cancel, or retry. Apple's answer? Wait, pray, and maybe force restart. Again, Android treats you like someone in control. iOS treats you like someone who shouldn't ask questions. It's the little things, and on Android, those little things actually make sense. Open source roots equals dev heaven. Android isn't just an operating system, it's a movement. Built on open source foundations, Android invites developers, modders, and power users to dig in. Want to build your own custom ROM? Tweak system-level settings? Create a phone that runs like you want it to? Android says, go for it? This is why we have entire communities around Lineage OS, Pixel Experience, and even phones that can run Linux. Android's open nature fosters real innovation, not just from Google, but from anyone with the skills and ideas to contribute. It's a playground for app developers and a paradise for modders. Apple, on the other hand, locks everything down like Fort Knox. You develop apps on their terms, in their language, distributed only through their store. Want to tinker? Jailbreaking voids warranties and breaks half your features. Android's open source soul creates freedom, flexibility, and an endless stream of creativity from the global dev community. iOS may look polished, but Android's built for people who like to push limits. You don't need iTunes for anything. Android doesn't force you to install a bloated, prehistoric app just to move a song or back up your phone. Want to transfer music, files, photos, or videos? Just drag and drop like a normal human. You don't need to sync, wait, or pray to the Apple gods. There's no, "this device is already linked to another library" nonsense. Android gives you direct access to your files. No gatekeepers, no weird formats, no software from 2003. Meanwhile, iPhone users still remember the trauma. Plugging into iTunes, watching it sync the wrong direction, losing all your music, and then realizing you need an update just to back up your photos. Even in 2025, Apple's backup system is still clunky unless you're all in on iCloud. Android, plug it in. Copy your files? Done. You can use cloud backups if you want, but you're not forced into it. iTunes was the symbol of Apple's old-school control, and Android never needed anything like it. We're free. They're still downloading drivers. Multi-user and guest modes. Privacy wins. Your phone is your space, but sometimes you need to hand it over. On Android, you can do that without a panic attack. Thanks to multi-user and guest modes, you can create separate profiles with isolated apps, data, and settings. It's perfect for families, shared devices, or that one friend who just needs to check something but ends up digging through your gallery. Want to give your kid access to YouTube but not your texts? Set up a restricted profile. Got a nosy partner? Hand them a blank guest session. With Android, your privacy doesn't go out the window every time you pass your phone across the table. iOS? Not so much. There's no guest mode, no multi-user support. If someone gets your passcode, they get everything. It's a one-user system in a multi-user world. Android understands that not every phone interaction should be an all-access pass. Whether you're lending your device or just keeping your stuff separated, Android gives you control. iOS gives you trust issues. Better file managers equals less rage. Android gives you an actual file manager, not a glorified media browser. Want to find a PDF? Move videos, zip a folder, or send an APK. Open your Files app and go to town. It's clean, it's efficient, and it respects your brain. You can access full folder structures, browse by file type, sort by size, and manage your storage like a boss. Third-party file managers, even more power. Meanwhile, iOS is still pretending that files don't exist unless they're inside an app. Apple's Files app is a half step toward real functionality, but it's clunky, limited, and often confusing. Where did that downloaded file go? Who knows? Want to move something between apps? Good luck. Want to share a file without jumping through a series of open-in hoops? Try not to scream. Android says, "Here's the system, explore it." iOS says, "We'll show you what we think you need." One is transparent, the other is opaque. And when it comes to managing your stuff, clarity wins. Android users don't have to wait for features Apple copies later. Every year, Apple drops a keynote and the crowd gasps over something Android users have had for years. Dark mode? Android. Always on display? Android. App library? Android. Call recording? Android. Split screen? Android. Even features like customizable lock screens, widgets, and AI-powered photo tools? All Android's been there, done that, and moved on. iOS updates often feel like a retroactive checklist of Android's greatest hits, polished and rebranded as revolutionary. Meanwhile, Android users are already testing the next thing. Apple fans laugh at Android's wild experiments until those features become must-haves on iPhone 2 years later. It's the innovation cycle on repeat. Android leads, Apple follows. That's the pattern. Android users aren't waiting for a yearly slow drip of new features. We've been living in the future while Apple's still catching up. If you want first dibs on the cool stuff, Android is the front of the line. iPhone users can enjoy the reruns. And that's a wrap on today's Tech Takedown. Whether you're repping Android or defending iOS to the bitter end, we want to hear from you. Drop your hottest takes in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss the next battle. Until then, the reasons why, epic debates, legendary comments.